Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Me again, Shannon Fox here, the Bondi Patriots 2 channel. Now, first off, before I get started on this video today, I just want to say, first off, thank you to one of my listeners, lovely lady named June, who decided to buy me a hat. And the backstory to this hat is um, my job, trying to move up into a position of maintenance, which I did get. I will start Monday as maintenance versus janitorial, meaning I got a huge raise, several dollars, huge raise. But I start my new position Monday. But one of the things that was keeping me from getting my new position was one of the bosses didn't like my Trump hat, my Trump 2024 hat. Thought it was too controversial to be wearing. After I'd been there for 3 months wearing it, said, "Well, if you want to move up in this other position, you got to take your Trump hat off." I said, "That's fine. I can do that." And I still didn't get the position. So a month later, that person is gone, no longer a part of the system, no longer going to be one of my bosses, and so that's actually better. And so I did decide to go ahead and try again for the position, and I got it. Thank God. Need the money. Makes a huge, going to make a huge difference on getting paid like McDonald's wages versus manager wages. Uh, but at any rate, thanks to June for this hat. This is the QR code hat. You're welcome to take a picture of the QR code, and it's the Trump dance. I am your president. So I'm gonna start wearing this to work. Shouldn't be a problem for them. Nobody should be taking a picture of my hat, especially any of those blue haired wokies who tried to get me in trouble in the first place. But enough about that. Let's go ahead and get on to the story. Since not a lot of news actually happens on Sunday, Congress is not doing anything. No major press conferences today that I've seen. But what one of the things that does happen on Sundays is a lot of people come on channels Friday, Saturday, and Sunday and do interviews involving news of the week, news of the day. And so I want to bring you several conservative clips of people that have all got about the same thing to say, which I'm hoping for, which is prosecutions of all these criminals. And that is the mantra of today. Several of Trump's picks, cabinet members, and people in the know are all talking about prosecution of these criminals and exposure of these people on the Epstein list, and definitely some repercussions against the people trying to stop Pam Bondi from bringing out the entire truth about what's going on with documents, including the Epstein stuff. It's a mess. The deep state has obviously reared their ugly head. They did that the minute they started screaming about the USAID money. Now they are cock blocking every bit of information they can to prevent Jeffrey Epstein's case from being exposed. Can you believe it? That's sickening stuff. But at any rate, we're going to get to the bottom of this one way or another. We got whistleblowers coming forward. Matter of fact, we have got General Flynn. We got Mike Davis. We got Stephen Miller. We got Cash Patel. Several great clips here, folks, about what's going on in the world today. So stick around. Let's get into it. This is the great Mike Davis on the Benny Johnson Show. And he just got some great stuff that I wanted to hear. Because I've been wondering, is anybody really going to go to jail behind all this? Well, this obstruction of justice thing, giving the old double barrel middle finger from the bureaucrats to the Pam Bondis and the Cash Patels and the Dan Bonginos, it's not going to work. And I'm curious as to how this is all going to play out. But the word on the street is, from all these clips, it's about the same. Justice will be served.
You said obstruction of justice. So it's obstruction of justice. What other charges could be added to this if they are found to be withholding evidence, which obviously there are? There's photos of the evidence. What's the charges that could be lined up?
Well, there's obstruction of justice. There's conspiracy. I mean, there's a whole litany of charges that you can come up with if you are illegally disobeying the Attorney General of the United States on her investigation of this. You're going to have big problems. You're going to have big job problems. You're going to have big problems with your bar as an attorney, and you're going to have big problems with the criminal justice system.
Good. You said obstruction of justice. So it's
That sounds like prosecution to me, folks. Sounds like prosecution to me. Disbarred, exposed, and jailed. Now I got lots of clips for you today, folks. So stick around. We'll go through them as quick as I can. Now, here's a couple more clips from Mike Davis and some of the other great guests that Benny Johnson has had on this week discussing the Epstein files and the deep state not trying to do their job.
We've done the entire show, Mike, on how Epstein was an FBI informant that was sprung from prison. And this is pretty clear. It's pretty obvious. He had handlers that have connections to the CIA. Ghislaine Maxwell, also intel. It's pretty obvious the game that was going on here. That's not groundbreaking. And it's pretty clear that the FBI is just continuing to protect one of its more embarrassing, or maybe they're not embarrassed about it, just something that is that would be grotesque to the American public, that they allowed Jeffrey Epstein to continue abusing children in order to get information from him and use his leverage. Do you think that's what the operation was here?
Well, I mean, if you think about this, you have members of a royal family who is implicated in this. You have a former president, Bill Clinton, the biggest scumbag on the planet, getting back rubs from one of these girls in a photo. Maybe just maybe the deep state is protecting Bill Clinton and one of these British princes. I don't know. That's just my suspicion. But guess what? This is the most appalling behavior we have seen here, where you have these very wealthy, connected, powerful, elite men with their sadistic behavior, where they are raping young girls, and they need to be held accountable for that. And if that means putting Bill Clinton's scummy ass in prison for the rest of his life, good. That's great for our country. It's great for the world.
That's what I'm talking about. Put his ass in prison. We know what he was doing. We've got the evidence. Now, Pam Bondi has only been given like paperwork at this point, and has been being told she'll get some more paperwork. But the FBI and DOJ field office in the Southern District of New York has got video footage of them carrying the boxes out of his Palm Beach and his Manhattan. I'm talking about Jeffrey Epstein's homes. Tons and tons of boxes of stuff. And on Benny Johnson's show and on several these tweets I've seen a safe. I've seen many binders full of CDs, which could be video footage. I've seen boxes of hard drives that are all taped evidence, and the plastic lid on the box was insurance policy. This is all stuff that is in possession of the FBI, considering they raided not one, but all 4 or 5 of Jeffrey Epstein's homes. So that tells me that they have not yet begun to give Pam Bondi the truth or the evidence, and therefore anybody that is trying to obstruct that, I guess Trump, Pam Bondi, maybe the whole team needs to go down there and do some little shakeups by asking the right people the right questions. Put them all in a room and start asking everybody questions and see what the hell happens. Fixing to have to get to the bottom of this, folks. We got people obstructing justice from the deep state. I'm talking about bureaucrats, politicians, and people that we don't know who they are, but they obviously are pulling some strings that the deep state, that the bureaucrats are listening to.
I don't think anybody had any idea that Zelensky would be so impertinent, so disrespectful, so insulting to the United States of America. Look, this is one of the great moments in the history of American diplomacy. The way that President Trump and J.D. Vance stood up for American interests on the world stage, the way that President Trump defended Americans after years of being fleeced and abused and taken advantage of and taken for granted, millions of American hearts swelled with overflowing pride today to watch President Trump put Zelensky in his place. The only reason that Zelensky has a country, that Zelensky is in power, is because of the United States. Americans have suffered economically, funding this war now for years. American security has been degraded, our stockpiles depleted, our ability to project power in other regions of the world negatively affected to protect and defend Ukraine. Americans probably don't even know the true extent of just how much military support on multiple levels and fronts America has provided to Ukraine. And then this man shows up in the Oval Office and lectures us, says we have to do more, says we're not as good as Europe, says that we need to provide them a forever war guarantee.
Yeah. I agree with that totally. Stephen Miller, spot on. Now Zelensky went home with his tail between his legs. Actually, didn't make it home. He flew over to England, see if he could get the European Union and Starmer to throw him a bone. And sure enough, he got another $2.26 billion from them to continue the war, probably another week or two. But at any rate, without the United States cash flow, the war will not continue. Uh, Putin will take more ground. Putin will continue to destroy Ukraine. The right answer is for Zelensky to step down, just my opinion. But he's too much in the business of wanting the war to continue because it's so profitable. It tells you what kind of a leader he is. Do love my new hat, folks. Says thank you at Joe Rogan and Elon Musk for citing and reporting this week on our show. So I'm guessing this was he cited Benny Johnson.
Did you see General Flynn? He was on a podcast and he spoke directly to James Comey.
Yeah.
He said, "Jim, you're going to jail, and unless you
I
give
got
up
that for
someone
you.
deeper than you, and you know who that is. You know who I'm talking about? Like, that is wild.
Yeah.
To think that the former director of the FBI might be really in that kind of deep shit, and then he really actually was doing some evil, corrupt shit while he was running the FBI.
I mean, it seems like there's some very shady stuff that's been going on.
And if you didn't know, Joe Rogan had Elon Musk on again. I guess it was yesterday or the day before. I watched part of that interview. Great interview. Go check it out, folks. But I've got some of that footage of General Flynn just laying it down on the Benny show. Benny Johnson's had some really great guests this week discussing how the deep state is fighting like hell. Now, this here I thought was a really great meme, but it's not actually a meme. It's just a photograph of Fox News, 175 billion plus under Biden administration sent to Ukraine. U.S. aid to Ukraine. How much was sent since Trump has been in office? Zero. That's what I'm talking about. And there will be no more funding whatsoever as after this meeting happened. They're cut off. Matter of fact, Vladimir Zelensky's got a notion of his own. He says that if you don't want to do business with Ukraine, we got lots of natural resources over here you may be interested in, including the rare earth minerals that Ukraine supposedly has as well. You believe that? Putin says he'll work with us if we need those minerals if we don't make the deal with Zelensky.
Мы, кстати говоря, готовы были бы предложить и американским нашим партнерам, когда я партнеры говорю, имею в виду только административно.
I'm gonna go ahead and mute it and read it to y'all. It says Putin offers U.S. rare minerals in cooperation with our American partners, and when I say partners, I meant only the administration, the government agencies, but also private companies. If they show interest in working together, Russia possesses significantly, I want to stress, significantly larger resources of this kind of mineral than Ukraine. Russia is one of the uncontested leaders when it comes to the rare earth metals deposits in the north of Murmansk and Caucasus and some other place in the far east of Irkutsk region. I guess that's Russia. Yakutia and Tuva. Developing these resources requires substantial investment, and we would be happy to cooperate with any foreign partners, including American companies. And this is true for the new territories. We are open to foreign partnerships. I guess he's talking about that land he just conquered in Ukraine. He's going to end up getting a part of that. Maybe sell some of the resources there as well. We're going to get our minerals one way or another. That's just the facts, folks. We're going to need them for this AI boom that is supposedly fixing to happen. Now, folks, I've got several clips here of General Flynn talking with Benny Johnson, and it was a pretty long interview, so I just cut it down to several clips. So here we go. Good stuff, though.
Panama, and I've been looking at Panama for the last 20 years. I've been all over, and I've talked on your show about Panama. So all of this is converging together. And this all matters because a lot of this crap, Benny, and for your audience, started back in the Obama administration. And when Donald Trump won, they had to collapse their whole idea and reshape their whole idea about how they, in this case, the Obama regime with his globalist team, was going to take over the United States of America. And they started with Spygate or Russiagate. And so with Kash Patel, Pam Bondi, now in the Department of Justice hot seats, and Dan Bongino, thank God, that we are, and Ed Martin I love it, Ed Martin at the Attorney General's office in the District of Columbia. The barrels are going to be, opened up, and guys like Comey, get yourself ready, get your legal team ready, because it's going to cost you, buddy. And I'm going to tell you, there's no evidence that's being destroyed. There's, and I know this because, and you see me on X a lot, where I have whistleblowers coming to me all the time. And when they come to me, I immediately turn them over to people like Tulsi. I turn them over to people like, in the Department of Justice, people that I know. I turn them over to I have people in the IRS. I certainly have people in the intelligence community.
Just fun fact, Trump has offered General Flynn 10 different positions in his cabinet. He basically told him, whatever you want to do, General Flynn, you're welcome to come on board and be part of the Trump transition team, be a part of my executive branch. And at this moment, General Flynn is like, I'm not ready yet. General Flynn is doing his own thing of getting people. If he was in Trump's cabinet, he wouldn't have as much access to the whistleblowers he does, having his podcast and coming on other people's shows. He feels like he's doing more work, being boots on the ground instead of at the White House, as far as being able to get the right people in the right places. Like you said, he is getting whistleblowers from agencies and getting them set up to talk to people in Congress and people in the know to help not just protect them, but get their story out and hopefully be able to use these people to get these criminals out of our system, get them prosecuted, get them exposed, and like I said, get them out. I'm so ready.
And I have people over at places like the Drug Enforcement Agency. So whistleblowers are coming out of the woodwork, and they're providing direct evidence to these kinds of issues. And I'm going to tell you, Trump has got a great team there working those things, and these are things that are going to play out. And there's not going to be long Durham investigations. These are going to be, boom, and they're going to go right at it. They're going to prove these out. And people like Jim Comey, and all of them. When Trump, like what Tulsi just did, Tulsi just she didn't suspend, she revoked the security clearances, which is different than suspending them. Over 100 people on these porn websites that they're using classified and unclassified government systems. Jim Comey did things that were so egregious, so off the books. This guy, and when we were cracked, my family and I, we have a great Irish sense of humor. Jim Comey sitting on the stage, bragging about how he snuck into the White House, and on a better day, we wouldn't have been able to do that. Ha, ha, ha. Everybody laughs. Well, Jim, the tides have turned, and now
the tides have turned, and it's fixing to be your turn, no doubt about it. I'm so glad to hear that everybody on the conservative side is saying the exact same thing. No doubt about it. Nope.
No man on earth knows better President Trump. And
it's not where I was supposed to be at. I was supposed to be at the 16-minute mark. We'll go past. All right. Bear with me, folks.
if in fact all this plays out the way what we understand now. So during the campaign, one of the things that we did hear about, and especially after we won in November of 2016, the spying that was going on inside the campaign. But to remind your audience, so we're talking about the Republican nominee for president of the United States, from essentially the summer of 2016 until he won the presidency. Jim Comey made the political decision, and now we have to find out who else knew about it. Did the current the Attorney General at the time know about it? Did the White House know about it? Did Susan Rice know about it? Jim Comey's going to have to he's going to have to have a moment, come to Jesus moment, when he's going to have to say, well, I did brief the President Obama, and he was aware, or I talked to John Brennan about it, because believe me, Jim, those people are going to be brought in, and they're going to be asked questions. The agents that acted.
Bring Obama in. I double dog dare you. I am so ready for that. Bring Obama's ass in and ask him a million questions. We need those answers. Got a couple more minutes, Mr. General Flynn, should I say?
Should be on the table for people that share America's secrets. And you just brought up treason with James Comey. Yeah. Do you believe that treason charges could potentially be on the table for these individuals who planned a coup against a duly elected president?
Yeah, first of all, I'm a big fan of Representative Luna. She's super brave. And more than outspoken, she actually is a woman who is she acts, right? She not only talks, but she acts, and she's doing a lot of great things for our country. So the answer to your question is yes. Am I for the death penalty? I am for the death penalty for certain acts of criminal acts that are so egregious. Like, for example, anybody who sexually assaults a child, right? Someone who is involved in child trafficking that is so outrageous, horrific, egregious, whatever adjective you want to use. That those are the kinds of people that I think should receive the death penalty. People that have committed treason, the levels that we have seen, that ought to be on the table. Now, I'm not, a constitutional scholar and.
All right, folks, we're going to go right to the end of this video. One of the best parts, I thought. Here we go.
General here with 2 million subs. Obviously, get in there and make sure that you are giving power and energy to a man who's fought so hard for you. And I hope General promised 10 years that we've waited to see these criminals operate. Will we get arrested, General?
Yes, and for Jim Comey, start measuring yourself there, buddy. I know you're kind of a tall guy, so go to a tall man's shop, send your measurements over to the Bureau of Prisons, because it's coming.
Send your measurements over to the Prison Board of Affairs. That way you can get measured up for your orange jumpsuit. Coming soon. James Comey is going to jail, and I believe Bill Barr ought to go to jail as well, and several of the people that were deeply involved in prosecuting Americans, including Trump, for crimes not committed. Now, Cash Patel did release a statement about the honeypot, the female honeypot that we've been hearing about over the last couple of days that involved James Comey. He said one of the FBI agents, female FBI agents, after he looked at the case, he realized that she had not done anything that was not in her purview of her job or the scope of what her bosses had told her to do. And so he's basically defending her, saying anybody that's got anything bad to say about the supposed honeypot FBI agents. He said he has looked at the whole situation, and you have nothing to be alarmed about as far as the female breaking her, one of the females at least, breaking her oath to the FBI. So therefore, she's not the one in question. It's the people that put her in a situation to come and try to get good on the Trump administration during 2016, 2015. So we're going to see how they handle that. But at any rate, he's at least calling balls and strikes. Got a few more clips for you here today, folks. Got a Pam Bondi interview as well. Now, this here I thought was a great idea. Just another another person I listen to over here on X says, I suggest that Pam Bondi directed every special agent in charge in the FBI certify in writing with a letter that every single Epstein document has been supplied to her. The certification letter should go to a selected senior FBI official outside of Washington, D.C. and New York, so when someone lies, the false statements will be occurred in a venue where a conviction is possible. No certification, you're fired. Time to stop playing these stupid games. That's what they ought to do. It makes sense to me, folks. Get everybody to sign a letter saying what they did and didn't see, what they have been privy to, and that way, if they send that letter, say, I've never seen it before, I had nothing to do with it, and we find out later, well, actually you did. Well, then we have evidence against them in their own handwriting. It's a brilliant idea. I'm surprised they haven't done this already. Now, we're going to play a little bit of this interview here as well. This is Pam Bondi with Mark Levin. Just breaking down what the hell is going on with this DOJ, FBI, not trying to give up the paperwork, not trying to listen to the president or the attorney general. It's the deep state rearing their ugly head.
Musk and these other departments, are they starting to pour in somewhat?
Pour in is an understatement, Mark. Yes, we're going nonstop. First with Tom Homan and Christy now. We're all working hand in hand. I was with both of them all week. You're going to see a lot of really great things coming out. We all work as a team. We work so well together. You know, I always tell the president this. I said, we were friends, so many of us, before we came in to work for the president. And it just makes our jobs so much easier because at a principal level, we're all talking to each other constantly.
That's great. It's great. They got the teamwork working together, having the experience to know each other in the past. To that way you don't have to butt heads with new people. Hopefully everybody's on the same page.
Only career employees could do that, not the Secretary of Treasury because they called him a quote political. So that's what we're dealing with every day.
And you got a lot of these judges. I've seen the districts they're in. Most of them are in these dark blue cities: Boston, Washington, New York, Seattle, Washington. I counted, and I could be wrong, but I counted on the public record, 94 of these lawsuits trying to cripple Doge and the president and the activities that are taking place. I guess these are taking up a lot of time, no?
They are, but there are great lawyers that we have brought in who are amazing. They're on it. We're bringing in more lawyers. Next week, you're going to see a whole stream of new lawyers coming in to help them, but we're on it, and we're in the right. And ultimately, these cases are going to get to the Supreme Court, and we will prevail. It's not even a close call on this.
94 cases already trying to stop Trump and Doge. Boy, that's some people trying to hide some stuff, cover some stuff up. No doubt about it, folks. Now, Pam Bondi says we're going to get to the bottom of this. We're going to send people to jail. We've started investigations. She has asked Cash Patel to start investigations into non-cooperative government officials. And the list is already growing of everybody that's non-cooperative.
Watch firsthand these truly professionals led by Mike Waltz, Marco Rubio, Pete Hegseth, Tulsi Gabbard, Scott Bassett, all of these people together. Steve Witkoff is amazing. The things that are being done for world peace at the direction of Donald Trump, it's remarkable. It's remarkable. I'm so blessed to be a part of it, a teeny tiny part of it, what they're doing.
Well, knowing you and knowing how committed you are and your integrity, I can tell as a former chief of staff to a great Attorney General, Ed Meese, that I am thrilled that you're there and you're going to do a fantastic job. So God bless you, my friend.
Thank you, Pam Bondi. For anybody giving Pam Bondi a hard time about the Epstein files, I believe she was duped, but I don't think that I think that maybe they had to roll it out this way just to let everybody know this is what the bureaucrats are doing to us. She had to know there was more than a couple hundred pages of information out there for as many documents as was carted off just on video footage. from all these Epstein locations. She had to know there was more. There had to be videotapes. There had to be hard drives, all that stuff. Well, she's demanding it. Now we'll see if she gets it. They may have to go down there in full force and demand it like pulling teeth. Now, Mike Davis, we got another Mike Davis moment here, folks. I thought was great. Need to be said.
So you're saying that there should be criminal action for the withholding of evidence. Can we put up the safe, please? This safe, Mike, had bags of diamonds. So what you're looking at is bags of diamonds, more hard drives, a manila envelope full of passports, foreign passports. Where the hell are those? And a binders of CDs right here. So again, this is direct evidence that hasn't been seen by the American people, that is being withheld from Pam Bondi by some urchin in the Southern District of New York that believes that they are the only people who can oogle all of this. What should happen to them?
Well, I'll tell you, the people who raped these kids should be strung up by their balls. And the fact that you have these federal prosecutors and federal agents in New York covering up for these guys who should be strung up by their balls is unacceptable. And I would hope that they understand that there is a new sheriff in town with Attorney General Pam Bondi, and she's not going to play games here. And they tried to fool her already by saying that they turned over all of the evidence in this case. They turned over 200 pages. There are thousands of more pages of evidence. She's going to go through this. She's going to publicly release this evidence, protecting the victims so they're not re-victimized. And then I bet you anything that the people who obstructed this investigation, who obstructed justice, will be finding other jobs, and they may end up in federal prison.
That's what I'm talking about. They need to end up in federal prison. Anybody that's protecting a pedophile needs to go to prison. That's all I got to say about that. That's just these people uphold an oath, not just to the agency, but to our country, to do their job. And protecting people like Epstein is not doing your job. All right, folks, got a couple more little short clips here for you. We got Patel speaking out about the investigation.
I've asked this Congress to investigate where has this money gone. The American people are owed that answer because it's our money. It's our.
What has happened in the last 48 hours since Trump has had this meeting with Zelensky, and Zelensky left mad because he didn't get what he wanted, and no ceasefire deal because he wanted more money, basically, or wanted all kinds of terms. He doesn't want to end the war. The money's still flowing from other direction. That's the point of the matter at this point. But at any rate, Trump is stopping all the Ukrainian aid from this point from, I guess, since he stepped in office. They're no longer getting any USAID aid because Doge has stopped that. And now Congress is not going to send any aid to Zelensky either, no matter what these rhinos and Democrats were thinking the other day getting in his ear. But Trump has said we need to open an investigation, and Patel has suggested the same thing, and it's happening in real time, folks. We're going to get investigation into Ukraine spending to find out how much Zelensky pocketed, how much Joe Biden pocketed, how much even the Obamas benefited from this 3-year war. It's coming, folks. Accountability is just right around the corner for a lot of these situations.
I've asked this Congress to investigate where has this money gone. The American people are owed that answer because it's our money. It's our taxpayer dollars.
And there's a lot of really good reason to be concerned because, the Ukraine was known as a, place of corruption, a place for money laundering.
Yeah. It's not like we sent $1 billion, as if that was even a small number to begin with, right? We've sent 100 times that to one country. I don't know how this Congress is allowed to get away with it. And Zelensky is out there. He went on the world stage and said Russia fired a rocket into Poland, which would literally be an act of war. Well, it turned out that Russia fired no such rocket. It turned out that the rocket came from the Ukraine. and was fired into Poland.
And it was a mistake, basically.
If Zelensky's going to go out there and beg the world for more money and come to the U.S. and sit in the well of our Congress and say, we want more money, and then call and demand the new Speaker of the House provide more and more money, and call Mitch McConnell and say, we need more and more machinery, he needs to be more prepared about global statements that bring us to the precipice of war than doing what he did last fall with this missile attack, or this missile launch, I should say. And we just can't have full faith and trust by giving a leader $100 billion and having him say, I'm not telling you where the money went.
That's why that ship has sailed. The money is stopped. Zelensky's not going to get anything else except for his country cut into little bitty pieces and divided among a couple of nations that he owes a fortune to, including us, no matter what he thinks, if they've got to enact regime change. It says, breaking news, President Trump to investigate waste, fraud, and abuse in Ukraine after the meeting with Zelensky. Glad to hear it. That's what I got for you today, folks. Hopefully everybody had a great day. Hopefully everybody's enjoying the beautiful weather here in Texas anyway. Hopefully you're having wonderful weather in your part of the woods as well.